Hello everyone, my name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are back with another track guide, and this time we are on the Red Bull Ring. So, quite a small track, but quite tricky, very close to the off tracks on many spaces, and quite a good combination of high speed and straight lines, which means that normally the setup quite tricky because we want to go fast on the straights while keeping it on the track and the high speed. So we're going to go over that, how to optimize that in high speed corners and how to make use of all the track that we are allowed to use, and in some spots might be a bit more than you expected. So let's get into it. Right, so here we are, end of the lap, running the McLaren because we are in the Austrian Alps and we have a bit of elevation. That means that the turbos work even better compared to the NA cars, and the McLaren's even a better choice, not like reduced or needed it. Turn 1, you'll see, like all the corners, we try to extend and use all the track and a bit that we are allowed to use. On the exit, I like putting my left side tires on the yellow anti-cut. You can go a bit over that as well, but I like to use it to catch me. And we're braking at the 100 on the left side. I don't like to go all the way down the inside here. You saw there it snapped a bit already. It tends to lift the right rear, which doesn't help the traction at all. And we brake just before the 100 on the left side. Try to use that curb on the inside. Again, using all the road on the right side here. I like to keep it in 4th, because the rear tends to be a bit unstable. Then we use all the road on the right side here. You can go all the way to the gravel. And a small tap on the brake just before the 50. And all the way right on the exit, and we want to use it for the entry as well. And the same thing on the exit here. And that's the lap around the Red Bull Ring in the McLaren. Right, so let's have a closer look from the outside cam to see exactly how we deal with the track limits. And in general on this track, what you want to have is that your right side tires are on the white line on the corner entry and exits. So this green here on the left side, it has a different color, but just like in real life the DTM was there not too long ago, they use all of this track on the left side. This green here has the same amount of grip as the curb, has the same amount of grip as the track. Actually, I think the curb even has a bit less grip than the green. So when you want to brake, you want to make sure that your left side tire is on the left side of this. So we brake just before the 100. And we try to open it up as much as we can. As you can see, the right side tires are touching the white line. They can also touch the curb, so you can feel it a bit in your wheel before you get the off track. And then you want to get close to the curb on the inside. And as you can see, we try to do a late apex, meaning we turn in late. We don't take that much speed into the corner. And by the time we get to the apex here, our car's mostly rotated, and we can immediately go back on power. And that's because the long straight coming after this all the way to the top of the hill of turn 2. Then we get the exit. And again, the exit, you can run over this anti-cut, the yellow one. I like to use it as it kind of catches the car and stops my car from going too wide. It helps a bit as well with the speed coming out of the corner. You don't have to keep your right side tire on the white line. I think it's a bit more lenient that your left side tire can go over it, but it needs to be at least on the curb here. And we just want the tightest line, the shortest line. Turn 2. Again, the same as turn 1. The left side tires on the green, the right side tires on the white line. And I brake just before the 100. And then turn 2, as you can see, it has a lot of elevation change, especially on the apex. So what you want to do is come from all the way from the outside and kind of go over here straight. You can even see on this lap that the rear differential struggles even with this line. If you turn in very early here, I'll go to the inside. If you turn in very early and you come in this angle, then the elevation difference between the front axle and the rear axle is so big that it starts to lift up the right rear. And once you're close to the throttle pedal, so you start to push the throttle pedal a bit when the right rear is being lifted, the differential starts doing weird things because one wheel is completely unloaded. And if you have low preload in your setup, that means that the inside wheel starts spinning completely and the left side wheel doesn't do anything. So you want to avoid that. So we come in from the outside. And if you want to run the tight line close to the curb here, again, you just need to make sure that you're coming from all the way from the outside. And even here, as you can see, the right side tire here is completely getting unloaded. So when we go back on power, we have this small snap in the steering. I don't know if you can see it here. We have the rear stepping out a tiny bit here. Even though we're not much on the throttle, the rear starts to step out. And again, the way to avoid that is we don't want to wait that long to go on power because we're already towards the corner exit here. We want to build it to power for the next straight. Is avoiding the apex a tiny bit more. That's the only real way to avoid that. But because of a small snap here, we didn't lose too much. So that's a tricky line through the corner there, and it depends a lot on your car setup and what car you're picking as well, how much they can handle that elevation change. Turn 3 is more straightforward. Again, we do the same style of braking. I'm braking at maybe 130, 120. Bring it to the inside, and you want to place your car on the inside curb here. It helps with the rotation, I found. And then you want to run all the way to the exit and follow close to the gravel on the exit to use all of the track here. The reference here you can use is not anything with the right side tires. Just make sure to not hit the gravel and you should be good. And we get to a very tricky section here. These next two left-handers and the last two corners, they're tricky because all we had so far was low-speed corners and very long straights, which asks your setup to be low on downforce. And now we get to high-speed corners where the rear can be very unstable because we want to run this lower wing around this track. So what I like to do here, again, first similar kind of style on the entry, left side tires on the white line, small tap on the brake. You can see the rear's not quite planted. Wants to look around a bit, that's because of the low rear wing. And what helps a lot for me in this car in general is running the corner a gear higher. So instead of running third, which you would usually do here, you can just keep it in fourth. A bit more weight will stay at the rear of the car. Not as much engine braking, and it keeps it a bit stable and also a bit easier on the power on the exit. And the car still has a lot of torque to accelerate out of the corner. Then here I go into third. There's a bit more grip and then throttle early, and you want to make sure that you're close to the gravel here without touching it, which is the limit. Once you touch the gravel, you get the off track. Just set up for a good exit from that corner. And we get the last two. I want to be, again, same as every entry. I want to tap the brake only at maybe 30, 40. Before we do that, we can have a quick look in Delta as well in the last two corners, actually. With the throttle pickup and what gear we're using. Go to the Delta. So we see here, then we can look for the two corners in the middle sector. And you can see we're slowly building up the throttle here on the first left-hander. Small tap on the brake, and we're doing the same on the second left-hander. You need to be very slow in building up that throttle because again, that rear doesn't have that much grip. And if you go too early, the rear will start to step out. So small tap on the brake on the entry, and then very slowly, because the middle of the corner here takes a very long time. It keeps turning. You want to slowly build up that throttle and not go to 100 too quickly. But also, as you might notice, like usual in iRacing, we want to do that first 50% quite quickly and then modulate our throttle. Same here. So we go first bit very quickly and then modulate the throttle from there. So that's how you handle the middle sector of the Red Bull Ring with low wing. So if we look at the last two corners. Last two corners here, you tap the brake at about, I do it exactly between the 100 and the 50 mark, and then get the car to turn in. Down one gear, I use the curb on the inside a bit, and then we get to the last two corners where the track limit is not the white line. It's not even the red and white curb, it's the green and white curb, and more specifically the edge of this line with the right side tires. So very counterintuitive compared to how iRacing usually works. There's also a gravel trap there in real life now, so we can't do this at all anymore. But the way we drive in iRacing, right side tires close to this line, and we want to open up the exit. But more importantly as well, not just opening up the exit of the second to last corner, we want to keep the car here for entry for the last corner. So when we bring it from the outside here, small tap on the brake, you can see when we enter the track, we're coming from all the way from the left side. Our car's already made a significant amount of the corner before we're even fully on the track. So we can make this entry to the last corner a lot wider. That allows us to carry more speed. We want to be close to the inside curb here. And go on throttle really early again because we take that wide entry. And what I want to do here usually is the track kind of falls away at the apex, and it comes back to you and it pushes the car into the road. And I want to make sure that my line is such that once I hit the apex, car falls away, I can go flat out, and by the time it gets pushed back into the road, I can use that as traction and acceleration for the exit. And if I haven't made this entry well, and I go flat out here, the car will understeer, I haven't done a good job. So you need to make sure that coming from the outside, have the car rotated in such a way that you're almost at the inside anti-cut. You can be flat out here and carry that speed to the next lap. And again, the exit here is the same. The right side tires on this white and green curb. And if you look at this, it looks like an off-track, very clear off-track. It's legal the way in iRacing, so we're gonna go with that. We want to use all the track that we are allowed to optimize the lap time. And that's the lap around the Red Bull Ring in the GT3 cars. Alright, so there we go. Another track guide done. This time the Red Bull Ring. Nice track, always leads to some good racing. So if you're racing this week, I wish you good luck. Couple spots where it's quite tricky, but it's quite fun overall if you learn the track. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone next week for the next track guide.